Hey guys, it's me, Sesame3, and it's that time again where we're going to talk about Webkinz Next. Actually, for a change, it's not because there's some news story regarding it, it's that Webkinz Next has passed its 1-year anniversary on October 23rd. It marked 1 year since the game's release, so we are going to talk about Webkinz Next and how it has grown a year in. I actually meant to get this out on the anniversary, but I got busy, so it got pushed back. But it's okay, because there was an update a couple days later that actually is a pretty good update, and I want to talk about it. Now they said they had to grow into the full Kinzville, so let's get into how far they have grown in the past year. So one of the things that has been the most consistently updated is the arcade with some new games. So if I can just talk about those real quick, one of the first ones that they added was Polar Plunge, and it plays basically like it does in Classic. I don't really notice much of a difference. That being said, I was never good at Polar Plunge. They hide things at the bottom of hills. It's still so jerkish, and you can't even memorize it because the set pieces are randomized every time you play. Oh my god. Yeah, Polar Plunge is not the one I would have chose to bring back, but, yeah, one I actually wasn't that excited, but I ended up really liking. I've been playing it actually a lot. It's now my go-to game. It used to be like Jumbleberry Blast on Next, but now I'm really going to Triple Strike Solitaire. I don't know why. I like card games, so I'm realizing that now. When I was a kid, I hated card games. Now I'm an adult, I love them. And then, of course, they brought in Atomicalicious. And at first I was like, oh, they brought in Goober's Lab. It's like, nope, it's Atomicalicious. The 2-player one, except it's you versus an AI. Can't play with a real person. And they kind of changed how some of the matching works and how some things fall. It's messing with my head because it's like, it's ruining what I understand about the game. I don't know, it's really hard to explain without playing it, but sometimes you swap orbs to get both of them to pop, and it'll only pop one because the other one's like, oh, it's gonna drop down. It's like, but they were both supposed to pop. To be honest, I kind of would have preferred a single player, which is odd because Atomic Glitch is like my favorite game from Classic, and I would have just about killed for, you know, a way to play against a computer when I can't find someone in the tournament arena, but I don't know, this version's just a little weird to me. Oh, but we did get a new game this past year, and that is Diner Dice. It's just Yahtzee, but with food. But I mean, I played Yahtzee a lot as a kid, so it's alright. Oh yeah, and they also changed the icon from the game. I think at first it was the Golden Retriever, and now they have changed it to the Husky. But for some of the other stuff that got updated, I covered this in the beta video, but we got photo mode, which is really cool. I love photo mode a lot. It just kind of sucks that you can rotate the camera in 360 degrees, you know, to see your east and south walls, but they aren't decorated with anything because you can't turn the camera when decorated. So you can get pictures of those walls, but you can't decorate those walls to make those pictures look nice. It's so weird. Just let us rotate the camera to decorate. That's all I want in this game. Literally, you do that. You have a 3D game with a lot of focus on decorating. Let me turn the camera. That's it. That's all I want in this life. Strollers were also added just as a way to take your babies out and about, which, you know, I still don't have any babies. I haven't bred anything in the game because I'm not spending real money. I'm just getting the 5 weekly diamond rewards. Oh yeah, and with the addition of strollers, they added in the baby park. It was kind of rolled out slowly and they tried to hype it up. And to be honest, for a while, I saw people using it a lot, you know, bringing their baby. Every time you went there, you're able to see a cool baby. I don't see anybody there at that park now. It's so dead. And actually, come to think of it, I don't really see people taking their babies out in strollers much anymore either. The thing mostly about the baby park is it was interesting when it was new and shiny, like, oh, look, this is something you can do. And then it kind of just sunk in. It's like, well, I already did that. I could do it again, but that would just be sitting watching the same animation play again and again. And that's a bit of a theme with Next, but we're gonna get into that. A feature that was long awaited for me was multiple homes. When they implemented this, I went a little nuts. I bought like 2. When they first announced them, my first thought was, this is great, but also, oh no, they are going to make this cost diamonds, aren't they? And then they didn't. And like, I thought, okay, if it's not going to cost diamonds, then it's going to be super expensive in Kids Cash. No, it's only 5,000 for a house. It's like, pfft. It's only the cost of like a couple of rooms. If only property in real life was that cheap, you know? It's really cool. And they even had a challenge where you got to win like a countryside cottage. It kind of sucks that the decoration options for that cottage can't be used in houses off that plot. Like, I kind of get it, like, make it something special, but also, like, we won these backdrops by doing all these challenges, and why can't we apply them to other homes we have? I don't know. That's like my one complaint. Hopefully if they do like more house challenges and stuff in the future, we get to be able to, you know, use those customization options on our other homes and not just that specific property. You know, I probably should talk about a really big anticipated update, and that was the gem mining. It got opened, and wow, is it really cool. Lady Tail. Gem mine is just this really big, wide open area where you can run around, and lots of it actually has some really beautiful pieces in it. It's really cool, and to be honest, I wish photo mode worked in this area, because like, I would love to take pictures, but alas, you can't turn the camera, so you can't like turn it and get screenshots, you know, with all the HUD stuff. But photo mode also doesn't work because, you know, it anchors the camera to the center of the room, which is another thing I kind of don't like about photo mode, but I already talked about that. So it's kind of understandable with the current system and how they implemented that wouldn't work, but it's just kind of a shame. You have all these beautiful areas and you can't take screenshots in them, you know, of your pet from the front, so. But there is a small thing that's kind of bothered me a bit about the gem mining, and like I said, the area is wide open, it's beautiful, which is great on paper, but it's just empty. If I can make a really bad comparison, it's kind of like Sonic 06's Hub World. It's really big, and it's kind of impressive when you first play it, but then there's nothing in there, and it kind of becomes a waste of time to go from one side to the other because it's just nothing. Like, yeah, these little offshoot rooms are beautiful, but there's not even rocks to mine, or like one or two, which chances are they're not going to be glowing with a gem for that day. I just want a reason to go over to these pretty areas, because here's what you do when you go to gem mine. You run up to the center where there's a bunch of rocks, you mine a couple of them, get the gem, and leave. Because there is absolutely no reason to go around and waste your time looking at things you've already seen, especially when you can't even like take screenshots of your pet in different outfits because you can only see the back of their head. Now, when I first saw it, I had this thought, and I hope they do this, that maybe it'd be used for something kind of like Adventure Park quests are in Classic, where you go through the caves in Adventure Park, you know, you get to see these different characters and these different spots that show up in certain quests, and you go and you do little things in those areas so they have a purpose. If they end up doing that in the future with quests, I would absolutely love it. I think that'd be a great use, but for right now, it's kind of like, this is really big. But why? Just like the baby park, it was new, shiny, and cool, and then it got tedious because it wasn't new and shiny anymore, and it doesn't really play much of a practical purpose. It's not very fun. But of course, with gem mining, we had to get the Curio Shop, which is run by Amanda Panda. God, I miss Artie. With the Curio Shop, of course, you have rare items, and unlike in Classic where they rotate every hour on the hour, here they just rotate every 6 hours, which I guess is to give people more of an opportunity to purchase these things. So it's less of a check back every hour to see what's there, and more so just, I'll check it like twice a day and I'll be good. Which I guess is better for people that are working or on a busy schedule and just don't have the time to check it. They also added new daily, which is the fortune teller, and it's just another sit and watch an animation play. Like, it's just short enough to not annoy me as much as some of the other things in the game, but it's still like, I'm having to watch this because I want that free item or Webkinz cash. Obviously, with Amanda Panda in here, we were going to have the Wish Factory. It's in the Curio Shop because I guess that's why Amanda Panda can keep track of the Curio Shop and the Wish Factory at the same time. Either way, it was one of the more interesting things to come out of this year. When it first launched, I looked at it and I'm like, oh no! I'm not even what a lot of people would consider a real Pokemon fan. My favorite Pokemon game is Pokemon Go. But even I could recognize they used unknown in their graphics. You don't mess with Nintendo when it comes to copyright. It's such a big thing. I refrained from making posts in the beta group because we're out of beta. we should be using the regular systems that are available to all players. This is urgent. Someone needs to know this before they get sued. Yeah, I did that and I tweeted at him. I'm just trying to get their attention about this issue, and I got a response. Apparently, what happened is one of the graphic designers downloaded a font thinking it would be like some cool hieroglyphics and stuff to throw in, and they didn't realize it was Pokemon? That is such a big oversight, and with how large Pokemon is, I'm surprised no one else in the team caught that, because like it was immediately recognizable to me. The dumb thing too is that these unknown didn't even spell out anything interesting. It was just it would have been nice if they spelled out something at least. Like, you're gonna steal something, try. They fixed it. The reason I put it in quotation marks is because really they kind of just changed it a little bit. They removed eyes and tails. I don't know. I still recognize it as Pokemon, but I guess it's good enough for them. So, okay, I think that's most of the stuff that's happened within the year, but like 3 days after the 1 year anniversary on the 26th, they dropped another update, and I just want to talk about this, okay? They added foliage to the bottom of the Kinsville map. I don't know why this took so long, but now we're not staring at this big empty blue void. It's so much better. Oh my god. It's mwah. The next thing they added that, oh my god, I love so much. The farmer's market. Can we talk about this for a second? It is so freaking good. It's kind of like the vacation island in the sense that there's shops there, but you can only buy 3 items a day. You know, from the bake shop, you can only buy 3 pieces of food, and from the seed shop, you can only buy 3 seeds. The seeds sold there are cheaper than the ones in the W shop or exclusive to the stand. So they also added the farmer's plot, which everyone gets 1 for free when they first enter the farmer's market. It just makes it so when you harvest stuff, there's a chance you harvest 2, or even like a prize or award food, which it sounds like they're going to be doing some stuff with later on, but essentially the purpose is right now that you can display them in your home. So it's food as furniture, and I am living for this. Oh yeah, you can also get like a butterfly effects bottle there whenever you visit, and you know, which is just effects bottle. It's not anything really interesting. It's cool. They also had a little bouncy castle, but to be honest, I see everyone do the exact same thing they did with the baby park. They go in, check it out once, then never touch it again because it doesn't really play much of a purpose other than watching an animation play. But they also had a new host, and that's the one running the farmer's market. It's a pig named Will, and essentially every day he will be offering better prices in the W shop for 3 foods, but you can only sell a max of 50 gardening foods a day. So like they kind of tried to nerf gardening a little bit, but also give it a buff, because like, to be honest, that was the only real way to make money in Next. That's why I have a house dedicated just to farming. I named it Laggy Farm, so if anyone ever thinks of visiting there, they know what they are in for. All of this is just so cool for someone that loves farming. My only complaint about the farmer's market is that it's not a daily activity. It's only there Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, which kind of sucks. Like, I love this. Give it to me as a daily, please. We need more dailies. One thing that does suck, and I found that the hard way when I started harvesting, when the plant runs out of harvest, because they can only harvest 10 times, there's a pop-up. And it's not just a one-time thing. It happens every time you harvest. And when you have 500 plants that were all planted on the same day, it was annoying and it made things take longer, so I sent some feedback about that. That's also kind of a thing about Next. I still don't feel it's respectful to your time because lots of it's just watching the same animations play. This could be faster, but it's not. Okay, we're just gonna step away from gardening for a second. The other big thing that was introduced in this update was sending items back to Classic, and you just put an item in and you can either pay Kins Cash, and it's more depending on how valuable the item is, to either send a duplicate of that item back to Classic. That option's only available though if it's like a special prize item or, you know, limited time thing. And obviously it doesn't work with all items. You can just click a little thing to show which items can be sent back. And basically just do that and you send them back to your Webkinz Classic account that is linked up. If you don't have it linked up, you can't do this. I love this feature. This is a really cool idea, but there are a few things that bother me about it, and it's not about how it works. I remember people saying that lots of people only started playing like Amazing World and Nakamas back in the day to get prizes for the Webkinz account, and That's true. Those things never really took off and were eventually closed down because they didn't get traffic. They had some Webkinz fans signing on just to get the prizes and signing off. I feel like this is kind of trying to do the same thing, trying to get classic players over to Next and a promise of get some prizes, you know. The other thing about it is I still see people to this day afraid to make Next accounts because it's like, I don't want to convert all of my classic stuff, and people have to just keep stopping me and saying it's a different game, they're separate. The fact that it's been over a year and this confusion still exists shows that the launch being so botched, it's still damaging Next. Like I said, I like this feature, but now it's kind of harder to say that the games are not linked in any way whatsoever because now there kind of is a link.
Figures, after filming this, they release a new update and they add a new game, so I wanted to talk about it. It's called Fantastic Flower, and it's a multiplayer game that shows up on even hours in Kinsville. Boy, you can sure tell the developers liked Mario Sunshine because you get your own flood and water a flower. That's, about it. You just aim at the flower with a wonky fake analog stick and refill your tank, which I sure hope you like the strength minigame in Classic, 'cause it's back! Anyways, it's up to 20 players, and the top placing ones get a prize. I got second once, which is my pride and joy, and glimpsed first for like 3 seconds. Honestly, it kind of suffers just due to how repetitive it is, and I do wish matches were shorter since I imagine with less than 20 people, it could take a good while to make the flower bloom, but it rewards good Kinz Cash, and it is their first multiplayer game on there, so it works okay. Maybe one day I'll understand what the glowing leaves are supposed to do. Also, Webkinz.
But aside from that, there's still no academy. We still don't know what the town hall is going to be for. No Miss Birdie, Dr. Quack, Artie. Lady. She closed my notes. She closed my notes. Honestly, for a year in, the game still feels a little bare, but it's getting better, definitely. I think a lot of these updates are, you know, it's good. It's just some of them are a little questionable, like the gem mining. Something, though, that I specifically want to bring up is the fact that the game is very not optimized. I know my brother looked at it and he was going, why is this game taking so many resources? It does not look like it should be taking that many resources. Now, you might be saying, if you're having performance issues, turn the graphics all the way down. And yeah, that's a valid tactic. That's what it's for. But I did notice something, and that was when I turned the graphics slider all the way down, it actually used over double the power that it did on max settings. And that was a really big alarm to me. So I looked into it more, and I knew to look and check this because this is an issue that happened during beta. And I found out on the 2 lowest settings, the frame rate gets uncapped. You can check this yourself. That's one reason I brought my laptop out here. So we are going to watch the utilization, and let me turn all the way up. Yeah, you can see the GPU is you know, getting about maxed out with this. You know, obviously at this setting, it's not too bad. It stays at about 75%. I turn it down below that, turn it all the way down actually, and you can see it is maxing out. Now, the reason for this, you can check this with Xbox game bars, the easiest way to do it because you can't really like use fraps or something on Windows app games. So you press Windows key plus G, and you can bring up the game bar. It's not recognizing this is a game. Hold on. Thank you, Windows, for being garbage. Is it going to give me the FPS? Yep, there we go. You can see it is going to 80 FPS. Unfortunately, you can't keep it up while working with stuff like this. But to verify, here's my graphics setting, and let me go up and pull this back up. You can see 80, 90 FPS, back to mid quality. Bring this back up. You can see it is capping back at 60. This is a big deal. So I want to give a little PSA to anyone who has underpowered machines or even laptops like mine. This is not a bad little machine to never play on these bottom 2 sliders. Oh, if you need to turn the graphics down, the best way right now is to keep it right there in the middle. This is a really big issue, so hopefully it gets fixed. Although if I can just talk a little bit about the graphics slider in general, it does a don't really do much. Like, for the most part, it's just shadows, and it's like the higher the settings, the higher the Gaussian blur goes. Like, even when I was testing out performance on my gaming PC, it was a couple percent utilization, which is something, especially when you're talking about a lower end machine like this laptop. It wasn't like a big drastic thing, you know? But aside from that, I guess I should talk a little bit about the Android version. I still don't play on mobile. There's been a few times I've used it though, and the texture flickering has come back and fixed and come back and fixed. So there's your update on Android. It's back and forth if it's good or not. Okay, now I'm sure the thing that everyone has been waiting for me to talk about, the plush. And if you skipped to this point, hi. You missed a lot. Anyways, finally, after all this time, the Golden Retriever has managed to sell out, and I believe the Unicorn has too. That's the end of the first edition, and I guess now we are going to have to see if there is actually a second edition, or if the whole first edition thing was just useless marketing crap, and they had no intention of ordering more.
Turns out it means whatever they want.
Of course, there have been new plush releases. We've gotten the pig, cow, gray tabby cat, and giraffe.
Interrupting for a moment here, there's also an elephant out now, which wasn't announced when I filmed this.
They haven't changed the plush style. They might still change and innovate. I'm just kind of waiting for that. I know so many people are like, oh, they're good quality and stuff, but frankly, I don't see a whole lot of merit in a toy that's not meant to be played with. Because, like, do you guys remember back when there were certain signatures released that were in a forced sitting or lying position, and people just ripped those to shreds all the time? Like, you can't pose them, you can't do this with them, they're not that easy to play with. And with these Next plushies, they're in the same forced sitting position, only now they have bobbleheads. How do you play with something like that? How do you cuddle something like that? And, like, topped with how they're marketing these as, like, first edition and collectors, you know, they're marketing them as not toys we played with, but as a gotta collect them all. I don't like it. These plush, they don't seem like they're made to be held and snuggled and played with and have pictures taken of and videos made with. They seem like they're plush that are meant to sit on a shelf and collect dust, and that's so sad. I don't want Webkinz to be a big, like, collector's item. I want them to be fun toys, but they're marketing them as valuable collectible items, and with the price tag, it's kind of hard to justify buying them for a toy. And I know, the value with these pets being $30 comes from the fact that you are getting 2 codes. I get that, I understand. I mean, there's also free shipping, which is nice. But still, if someone just wants the plush, that's $30 they have to shell out. It's a lot harder to swallow than the $12 and $15 Webkinz costed, like, in 2010. It's still a really hefty price tag to swallow, and I see some people that just want the classic codes, some people that just want the Next codes, which, you know, if they want the Next codes, some of them can be purchased in the Adoption Center, but some of them they're making plush exclusive codes. The cow, pig, giraffe, and gray tabby are not in the shop despite the fact that their plush are out. There is now 3 different people that might want the plush, but for 3 different reasons, and if you only want one of those reasons, it's probably not worth the $30. $30 is just too much of a risk for a lot of people. But one thing we can be sure of is that whenever there's a new plush dropped, a redemption pet is sure to follow. Dear God, why is this still a thing? I am waiting for them to drop the one of that cat, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to see it. Don't put me through this again, Gans. I know, the argument could be made that the cow and the pig redemption pets, that those plush were already ordered long ago. They didn't really have any choice but to still sell them. And to that I have to say, true, they couldn't stop the order and they had to ship the plush. However, they did have the option to change how they sold them, and they have not done that. I discussed some of this in my post-beta live stream, but I'm gonna go over this a little bit here. Neither party seemed to like the redemption pets. The people that liked breeding, they were like breeding super rare 7th to 8th generation babies, and they were getting stuck with these rainbow dogs, and they were furious. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, you had people that really wanted these, but either didn't have the disposable income and to try and win one of these before they're sold out. People are still winning them, I swear to God. Or tried and spent their money and still didn't get it. They only appease one of those crowds by making it so if you bred a redemption pet that you already had, you could re-roll it for a different baby. Which, I mean, good, but also the fact that they had to make a workaround because people were unhappy that they were winning these things should have kind of turned on a light switch in their brain. It's not even like the monetization of this game has gotten better. If anything, I am starting to see more and more issues. I watched a couple videos, and I'm going to link them in the description down below. One of them is called Let's Go Whaling. I think it's from like 2016. It's where this guy talks about free-to-play monetization tactics and how to monetize your game. It's kind of disturbing, some of the things he goes through. It's like, we'll talk about the morality of this at the end if we have the time. It's like, when you have to put that in. And then the other one, it's not for kids, definitely. It's the gym position. We're talking about how microtransactions are an accessibility issue. Anyways, now that I plugged those, I want to continue here. One of the things that helps work with a lot of games, and you've probably seen this if you play some multiplayer games, is that you can see other players opening loot boxes. And that's to help show like, oh, they got a rare item, and hey, I see these other people have it. It must not be that rare. I think I have a chance to get it. Honestly, I liked strollers when they were first introduced, but they've kind of started to leave a bad taste in my mouth because I realize like the baby park and strollers might have less been about new features and new ways to interact with your baby and more so about showing off you have a rare redemption pet to give people the thought that they're not that rare. They can win them if they try one of those tactics, and they start to leave a really bad taste in my mouth from that. And like, it still bothers me so much that you have to pay $30 for this plush after you win it. And like, people that are arguing like, oh, the value's in the codes for those regular plush. What's the excuse for the redemption pets? They're just $30 after you pay money to win them. But just with how Next is gone, it's starting to feel a little dirty. It's just these tactics are used to prey on people, and in this case, children. They're putting loot boxes in a child's game. Those babies are loot boxes. And I'm still mad they have not put out the odds of getting these babies. They should have odds out. And what makes it even worse is that these monetization tactics are also pretty heavily weighed on people who aren't neurotypical, since they're heavily based on quick, don't think tactics that can really take advantage of people who have disabilities like ADHD and autism, where lacking impulse control is a common symptom, but children also lack a lot of impulse control. So, I mean, I guess it's making the money, and that's why they keep doing it. And it's not really worth it to say, don't do this, because when something is based on everyone doing the same thing, it's not going to work. And this past year has proved it. We won't have a gas shortage unless everyone goes nuts. Everyone goes nuts, we have a gas shortage. There'll be enough food and toilet paper as long as everyone doesn't start panic buying. Everyone panic buy! So, I don't spend money in the game, and maybe you see why. And it's not just because I don't have money to spend. And something else to mention is that a data miner sent me a graphic that they found in Next, and this was back in April. It was a subscription perks plan. So, I mean, granted, this was back in April, so like 6 months ago, and we haven't seen anything of this yet, but this could mean that a version of Deluxe is also in the works. If you know how I feel about Deluxe membership, then you know I don't. I hope to God they change their mind and this never comes to fruition. But I guess to end this on a more positive note, I got a tweet from Sally, and her daughter showed me up. She got a black and white cat. She cracked the code and got a black and white kitty! Alright, I've been out here for so long. If the fact that, like, the sun is completely gone is any indication. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and, yeah, if you tried Next in the beginning and, you know, haven't touched it since, you know, I recommend going in, giving it a shot again now that there's some more content. Like I said, it's still a little bit bare, but I feel like if it launched with this, it would have been better, but the decision wasn't up to me, so, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one later. I'm not throwing karma, she was expensive.